There was a time where black players were not allowed to attend PWIs for anything. Couldn't go to school there. They didn't want them there for sports, anything. Well, eventually that all changed when Alabama A&M kicked the crap out of the University of Alabama. Ever since then, HBCUs have been making big strides forward. And now with the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, HBCUs have taken on a new light in popularity and relevancy and in football, with Deion Sanders taking over as the head coach of Jackson State. So, with that being said, I got a special guest coming to join me on the show today. His name is Ernest Robinson. He's a former running back of Virginia Union University, a former Marine, and he's going to be talking to us about what HBCUs can do to stay relevant. Check us out on the Sports Minute. Three schools that are HBCUs made the Division II playoffs. That's Benedict College, Virginia Union, and the other one is the CIAA champion, Fayetteville State. All three of them have a chance to make history. So, without further ado, I talked to Ernest Robinson about the relevancy of HBCUs and who he thinks is going to win this Saturday when Virginia Union takes on Wingate. Check out this interview. Hope you enjoy it. Besides athletes like Deion Sanders taking over as head coach at Jackson State and Chris Paul being an advocate for historically black colleges by putting together the HBCU tournament, what else do you think suddenly sparked this newfound interest in historically black colleges?
Um, I can't really pinpoint it. I've actually tried to try to think about it. I think I mean we had the BET for a long time actually had covered HBCUs. I mean we can go back to how they started poaching from HBCUs, back in the 50s and 60s, but then how we as a people kind of gave in to the idea of going to predominantly white institutions because white ice is colder than black ice, and
Right.
you know um but as it stands for the question, as it stands today, I don't know, but I'm glad that it's happening. I'm glad that, you had there were several initiatives, um, landscaping initiatives. Home Depot had gotten involved with some of the projects and the beautification of some of the institutions. Um, there has been longstanding rules of being able to for land grant institutions, such as St. Paul's is a land grant, um, uh, a former land grant institution, but there's standing rules that if the other institutions are getting certain revenue funds, then our institution is supposed to get those funds. And so there's already something that stands there that allows for it to compete. Um, Anyways, I'm just glad he's doing it. I'm glad other celebrities are doing it, and I hope it continues.
I hope it continues too, because
Yeah.
we definitely need it. I heard rumors that Deion Sanders was gonna leave and go coach at Auburn, and I'm just like, man, I hope he don't do that, man, because we definitely need the attention.
Yeah, yeah. It it's unfortunate that it's taken him to do this, and for him to have some of the conversations that we've danced around for decades. Um, if we remember in School Days by Spike Lee, they uh, questioned the relevancy of HBCUs even then. Programs were being cut even then. If you talk to alum from the 80s, between the 80s and 90s, they'll see some of the programs that we have today. Well, we don't even have some of the programs that they had then during that time. Things were being cut. Um, so I see this as a positive redirection, and opening up on the conversations that we need to have as far as uh, uh, being interdependent, instead of independent, interdependent on our alum, interdependent on our faculty and staff being best and high quality, and interdependent on our students, one being of high quality, but then also giving them high quality education so that way they can be high quality, um, citizens in society, and then continuing that particular type of cycle.
Big bet, man. So now my next question, which leads me to my next question, with this newfound interest in HBCU sports, primarily football, it seems like the SWAC and the MEAC are the ones that are getting all the attention. Now, granted, they are Division One, so I do understand that. But how
Mhm.
do the lower division schools like the CIAA and the SEAC, how do we explain to people, hey, come to us, we matter too? Like what are some of your ideas, or what do you think?
Um, I think, well, unfortunately, I mean, we used to have Gold Bowl.
Yeah.
And for those who don't remember, Gold Bowl was one of the highest grossing um, 1 day game events. I mean, but it was a whole week long event for Gold Bowl
Yeah.
in the country. CIAA tournament itself rivals other conferences. Division One, that doesn't even matter. Um, so I don't know if it's something to where like we need to like adapt to anything. I think that we need to believe in what it is that we do. I think we need to fully support the things that we do. I think we need to make sure we have people who are at the table who have our best interest at heart, who actually fully believe in the development of HBCUs, the development of our cultures, the development of our traditions versus stifling those particular traditions or trying to change the culture or change those traditions. I don't believe that if there are things that didn't work, that we need to keep doing those. I believe that we can have room for growth and critique. Um, so as it pertains to it, I think that we need to um, one make sure that SIAC and the CIAA don't move. That we look for opportunities of getting additional, um, television, additional exposure, whether that's television ads or some other means. Um, I think that we also need to have better representation when it comes to the um, to the boards of governors for the NCAA. The and that pertains to more the ability for us to be able to compete with scholarships. We can't attract talent if we don't have the scholarships in order to being able to provide the education that college sports is supposed to be the forefront for, right? These are student athletes. We were student athletes. So we, had nothing to do necessarily with just the competition portion. So I think those are some of the things we need to do. We need to dig in where we know we're strong at. We need to focus on those areas of improvement, increasing our scholarships, um, and then we can look to innovate in some newer ideas as far as you know um, proposing that uh, there may be a play-in opportunity to a larger division. For example, the winner of the CIAA basketball tournament actually plays Duke on one of their season openers at home. Um, and for a number of years, Union would win that, and will win the CIAA tournament, and then go down and will play against Duke. Um, more times than not, if I don't think if any time we probably lost all of those games, but it was the exposure um, of the program. It was exposure of competition for those players, and exposure of the university to the world because that was a televised game. And so, could there be something that may be similar in football where the CIAA champion and the SIAC champion, respectively, of their conferences, has a home opener game against, you know, a Jackson State or an Alabama or, or whatever, saying that allows the opportunity to compete, in that area. Where you made the best of that previous season, which opens up opportunities for recruiting, right? Then opens up to there say, hey, first game on our schedule next week is going to be UNC, right? You go play a game, and you hope for the best, but it gives us an opportunity to compete.
Okay, that's a solid answer, man, and that actually leads me to my next question, which I was looking at some articles on Deion Sanders, and he was basically saying that he doesn't want to see HBCUs go up against these big schools like LSU and
Right.
Florida and like
Right.
Ohio State, and pretty
Mm-hmm.
much go out there and get killed for
Mm-hmm.
a little amount of money. And I kind of agree with that because it's like
Yep.
basketball is one thing, but to me, it just seems like football, because of the physicality and the collision that comes with it, it
Yep.
seems as if football can break your spirit a little more, like if I'm making sense. When you
Mm-hmm.
when you lose those big games against, because you go in there thinking you able to compete, and then sometimes, like I think FAMU got blown out like 60-0 this year. So I guess my
Yeah.
next question to you is, do you think we should do you think those HBCUs should continue to play those Power 5 schools, or what do you think should be done?
I mean, the Power Five school was probably maybe an extreme example, right? Because again, I think Dion was right. When he was asked about Jackson State playing against Alabama, he's like, "We're not ready. 2 or 3 years, say we'll be ready." And to be fair, even the CIAA champion of this year, and I know we'll get to Union being in the playoffs and whoever come out of there. Let's say Union wins it all. I don't think Union today, or even winning and everything, would be prepared to play Alabama or Ohio State opening, game opener of next year, right? So no, I'm not. I didn't mean it definitively that should be
I
what it
got
should be. It should be maybe a D1 AA school. Like maybe we play JMU,
you.
right?
Okay.
Maybe we play um, Arkansas Pine Bluff. What I'm saying, maybe we play um, heck Vanderbilt. I mean, it's an SEC school, but they're not necessarily at the top. So or maybe we stick, with the lower end of the Pac-10, or maybe we play in North Dakota or something. I mean, even though North Dakota's been banging heads for decades now,
Pretty much, yeah.
they run the tundra up there in North America. But just something to that effect, to where we're able to start competing again and showing the type of talent, not only from the players that we're able to recruit, but from the culture or in an atmosphere that's created on that university, but the talent of those coaches, being able to prepare those players for that particular game, and then obviously that overall product. The ability to compete. I mean, and it sounds backwards, right? Like we're having to find a way to get our players and our schools back into mainstream when the dominating number of Black Hall of Famers in the NFL are from HBCUs. And I'm sure you've probably covered this on your show. before. Um, so
Definitely.
it's nothing new to some of your listeners, but to some they may not even know that, right?
Right.
And so the poaching and the prodding of our schools in trying to compromise the integrity of our institutions, the integrity of our programs, has is bore itself. This is the fruit of it, right? And again, it's a compromising situation to have to kind of reverse engineer this because we are the absolute best. I mean, if you look at some of those teams from those Power 5 schools, those are all black players. They're coming from you know urban cities, rural areas that are from underserved communities, more or less. Um, that even today nor yesterday have standards in which we would be allowed under any other circumstance outside the fact that those athletes are playing sports.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's a solid. Yeah, I agree 100%. And yeah, I was just thinking that also brings me along to my next point. I mean, the underfunding. I mean, some to get back HBCUs back into the mainstream, especially since a lot of they're talking about the nil deal and college athletes getting paid
Mhm.
and things like that. I kind of want to see HBCUs. I want to see those players because there are a lot of HBCUs that are putting in work, that are trying to win games and definitely get back into the mainstream. I think the Celebration Bowl definitely helps with that.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts?
um you mean just overall, I mean just as far as generating revenue.
Generating
um
revenue, yeah.
uh I mean, honestly, I mean, yes, that's a start, and I think some of the older traditions that we've had in the past before, I think need to be brought back. So there's older bowl games that we used to play, other tournaments that we can actually generate, or if we need to create a new type of tournament. If there's a new tournament between let's say between the SWAC, the MEAC, the SIAC, and the CIAA, right? And have that as a tournament. I mean, that in itself can not only be a battle of the bands, which generates its own type of revenue and competition and interest, but then also with the competition between um, all those institutions, participating, saying whether that's, through the regular season and then some other type of form of play. Um, I think that that's a possibility to kind of look at that again. But the last thing I had mentioned about being innovative, right? Of how we um, look at our HBCUs, players, the institutions. In this particular case, to your question, is in generating revenue. Okay, well, if we want to get something new, we have to do something new. And I don't think that in itself had been entertained before. And there's so many great programs: Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Grambling. The list goes on and on. Tuskegee. Those. We have an opportunity to being able to corral to why. And then the thing about it is it's going to bring viewership, right? Because if you had an interconference, right, um, type of tournament where now CIAA is going to be watching the SIAC a little bit more closely. The SIAC is going to watch the MEAC more closely. MEAC is going to watch the SWAC. SWAC is watching CIAA probably for the first time ever. I mean, and I don't know how to make it more intriguing, but I'm thinking that may be something that we may be able to tap into. Now, obviously, if the top teams from those particular conferences are going on to their respective like bowl games and stuff like that, clearly those won't be the ones that are be competing for this particular bowl game, right? Um, it will probably be, whoever came in second or whoever, whatever case may be. We'll make it to where we're not compromising on the type of competition, right? We're still going to be top tier. competitors, but we're not going to alienate the opportunity for, again, the SWAC champion, the MEAC champion to potentially make their way into whatever tournament they're going to do, the CIAA and SIAC, from being able to compete in, Division II, national championship opportunities and stuff like that, like Union is getting ready to prepare for now. But I think that may be something that we could actually do and entertain, and I think it would make it, and again, making it community oriented. Um, I think that there's that. I think that makes a tremendous opportunity, for us to be able to entertain something like that.
I think that's dope. That would be totally dope. I would like that a lot. That'd be cool. Have a little
Mm-hmm.
college football playoff amongst like you said, the four HBCU conferences, and
Mm-hmm.
have a winner from that. That actually sounds like a good idea. That's why I interviewed you, man, because you be knowing, man. You be knowing, brother. Um, so now with that being said, we could
Mm-hmm.
talk about the playoffs and Virginia Union.
Mm-hmm.
They're the fourth seed, and they're playing Wingate. Wingate is a very stingy defense. So,
Mm-hmm.
in your opinion, what do you think Virginia Union should do offensively? Because I know you play running back. What
Mm-hmm.
what do you think Virginia Union should do offensively to break down this stifling defense of Wingate?
Um, being honest, you're gonna have to. I think for any particular type of defense that is known to being stingy, they always say, well, early and often, right? Punch them in the mouth early and often. They're gonna have to establish a run game, and to make them honest, right? If they're gonna, if you have to make them commit. If they got 8 in the box, what I'm saying, you're gonna have to make them commit, saying, to that. Saying, don't make it seem like they can stack the box and then everybody just bail out because they don't believe in your run game. Saying they you don't have to make sure that we run them down. Make sure that they, smart passes. Saying, once they do start to open up, and I think then just playing Union ball. I mean, Union's been playing phenomenal all year long, right? So there's not, I mean, there's not much that they can do. I think the first thing you have to have again is a mindset that they deserve to be there, right? When you're when you're not used to something, sometimes you kind of get kind of overwhelmed. Be like, yo, we've arrived. And to be honest, like sometimes I think when I played in 07 and 2008, I finished in 2009. Um, when we got to CIAA championship and to the Pioneer Bowl, I think both of those occasions we were feeling ourselves, right? What I'm saying? We played great football all year long. Get down to the CIAA championship. Now we making first year, first game opener mistakes. What I'm saying? Letting the man get behind you. How you do that? How how you not complete. So for Union going into this game with Wingate, it's just going to be just do what you've been doing. Don't allow for the moment to get the best of you. What I'm saying? And just leave it on the field. But as far as the strategy, establish that run game, make short, precision passes, and just play Union football.
What were some of your greatest memories playing for Virginia Union? Because I know y'all had a ball. This was before I enrolled, but I had just got accepted at the time, so I was following the team, and I did want to play football, and then that ended up not happening, and I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. But I look at you, and I'm just like, yo, I look at y'all in that team, and Lamar Little, Torian Donaldson, Niles Rainey on defense, Andre LeBlanc, man. Like, what were some of the greatest memories you had as a Panther?
Um, Matter of fact, some of the greatest memories I have is that those. So I enjoyed the winning. I think I enjoy more now is seeing some of the successes of those players that I played with.
Okay.
Um, because of course, I mean, I had my own little reasons why I didn't play anymore. There was some little, yeah, but um, that was another topic. Now I'll
Oh, it's
holler
so
at you about
good.
that. But I enjoy seeing what when Andre got married, seeing what Steve Miller's his business is doing, what Lamar was able to do with his business. Um, see, it was it's seeing what we're the men that we've become. David Mims got
Yeah,
drafted.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's seeing how what we've come through together, what we've been through there, and then where we're at now today. That's what I enjoy most about that is I had an opportunity to share with them, like being in a fraternity. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like we see where we were and then see where we are. I think that's 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 the best moment there is knowing that I was there then and to see where we are now.
That's that's exactly that's the best way to put it, man. That's the best way to put it. And I didn't mean to leave David Mims out, but yeah, I remember when Mims first got drafted. That was a big moment. Not even just for the school. Like we was all so proud of him, and
Yeah,
everybody's just going on and doing big things, man.
yeah.
So best of luck, man. One more question, and then I know you got stuff to do, so I appreciate you doing this. Final
Oh,
score
no problem.
prediction.
Huh?
What's your final score prediction?
For the Wingate game?
Yeah, for Union.
I ain't got a score. The Union gets a dub.
Union gonna get the dub.
Union's gonna get the dub.
Union gonna get the dub. Let's go Panthers. This
That's right.
Saturday, 1 o'clock, Virginia Union takes on Wingate. I'm Rico McGee. This is my boy Ernest Robinson, man. Thank you so much for being on the show and happy early Founders Day to
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm in a t-shirt. no, no, good one. I don't wear no t-shirts. I would have wore a whole suit, but I had to do it for Founders Day.
I
I
know that's right.
appreciate you, my brother Rico, for that. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh man, no thing at all, brother, man. I'm Rico McGee. This has been the Sports Minute. All right. I'll see y'all in a minute.